I just had been admiring and appreciating the way in which Jeremy's done some of these things, because I know that it's been hard. So we took a few minutes to talk about that, and then, you know, kind of the heart behind what we're doing.
Don't mind my farmer's tan here, but I haven't worn a tank top in a long time. But I will say that I used to fit into this tank top really well. Then we moved, and then we fit in some, but guys, like, I'm having some clothing changes. So I know stuff is happening in a good way. Excuse me, sir. You have worms on your food here. They're not worms. They're darkling beetle larvae. And that looks, well, interesting. But it's gonna be good, because I've already had the mealworms. And they're not actually worms. So, I am focusing on orphanages today. Rice and not beans, sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes seem to be the go-to food in the Oceania region and a lot of the different islands. So I'm gonna be eating lots of sweet potatoes. I want to take a moment and talk about a place in the Oceania region called Papua New Guinea. I read that 1 out of 8 are orphans. That's a lot of orphans. And another staggering figure is that there's a mortality rate of 45% of children under 5. That was pretty staggering, but on top of that, we see that 43% suffer from delayed development, and that 28% of the children are malnourished. Those are high numbers. And we see also that poverty is an issue, with 37% of the population under $1.25 a day. With the FIG, the Farming Insects Guide, we want to take this away. Like 28%? No, let's focus on the nutrition. And the development issues, well, if we can give them the proper nutrition, then maybe we can reduce this number down and then eventually eliminate it altogether. Not just with the Farming Insects Guide, but other initiatives as well. And this mortality rate, under 5, if it has anything to do with being malnourished, perhaps by giving the proper nutrients, we can get rid of that. This right here, well, if we can show that insect farming can help produce income, well, maybe we can reduce this number as well. I do want to focus on orphans, because if we can help them feed themselves and feed the communities around them, Papua New Guinea become a better place to live. So we're having to get fuel because
we're in the car all the time.
What?
Because we're in the car all the time. Gosh, I thought our car might be blowing up.
What?
I thought our car might be blowing up there for a second.
Yeah, that was some guy street racing down the road. We have a street racer, but it's not me. Obviously, because I'm not going anywhere.
It's the end of Orphan Day.
Mm-hmm.
How are you feeling? Hungry?
No, I'm not too hungry.
I got thinking that you don't video yourself when it's hard. And so the times that you're sitting there just pushing through like a meal that doesn't taste awesome, or the times that it's kind of boring, like the food options are boring, we're just showing the highlight reel. And I thought it's probably worth people knowing that it's not always fun, and it's not always necessarily easy. It's not that it's been, a burden, but that sometimes I see you take a breath before you take that next bite of rice. And so, I don't know, I just thought that was an important part of the story that isn't like the most fun part to film. Mm-hmm. But also just to say, like, no complaints. Like, you've done this without any complaining. And if anything, it's been sort of...
What do you mean?
Well, okay, the food. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't think that you've complained. I mean, you've been tired. You've
Yeah.
been hungry at times. But it's not like, oh my gosh, I have to eat rice again. Oh my gosh, it's like 2 choices of bugs. Which one am I going to have today? I mean, anything after a while becomes monotonous and kind of routine. And so I think that's worth noting.
Yeah, but I mean, you figure people in developing countries, what choices do they have?
Right. What choices do they have?
Right.
Whereas you're sitting here with tons of choices and tons of options, which I think sometimes makes it harder, you know?
Yeah, sometimes it's frustrating, but
Right. But I just thought, I mean, kudos to you. I've actually enjoyed it. Enjoyed
watching you suffer.
watching your pain. No, that's not what I'm trying to say.
I haven't suffered. I mean,
no, and it's not worth trying to compare to people in developing countries.
Yeah.
It's just not, because the grids and their what the normal is
Yeah.
different. So you're trying to put somebody else's normal on here in this developed country. And I just think you've done a great job with keeping it upbeat, not letting it drag you down. Because I'm just saying, the truth of the matter is it could. Mm-hmm. And there probably is times that you're fighting through those feelings,
mm-hmm.
but you're
Absolutely.
pushing past them. And
Yeah.
you've kept a good attitude the whole time. You've been
I still have some
fairly
time
fun to be
so.
around most of
Fairly
the time.
fun. Fairly fun. Well, what I'm learning more and more about insects, and that's what I want to continue to learn and continue to share the knowledge. I just think it'll make a big difference as a well-rounded nutritional meal. Mm-hmm. It can get boring, but again, the mission is to show that it's feasible. It's not the end-all be-all. It is a foundational piece, like the prebiotics, the energy levels. But I'm looking at life beyond the 30 days, and I don't want to go back to eating the way that I was eating. How can we make this a sustainable lifestyle for us after the campaign, mm-hmm. and for those that are watching that want to get involved? And I've got some ideas, some thoughts, but I know that I don't want to go back to the way I was. And I think that's important for people that are wanting a change, wanting a shift. I think that's really going to be something that I'm excited about, ending this portion to get to that portion. However, in my life, I've been always about over there. What's next? I've always been about that. So in this campaign, actually in my life in general, I've tried to pull back the reins and really focus on the journey and have a heart. I mean, I'm going to lose it if I start talking about the different people that I'm researching, because I don't want to put that, like, the negative aspect on it. I want people to see the hope. Mm-hmm. I want the viewers, I want people around me to know the hope.
So either when it's 11:30 and you've got to go do editing for hours, or you're looking at another plate of rice.
Yeah, because it's 11:20.
Mm-hmm. So what is it that you dig down into that pushes you on?
I'm really fighting for something that's... Why am I losing it? I'm fighting for something that's bigger than I can do on my own. And I feel like if I give up, this is not hard. I mean, it's a lot of work, but it's not. I think about the people that we're trying to affect their life, and dude, this is nothing compared to what they have to live through. I mean, the kids, like, I just totally lose it when I think about the mortality rates and the underdeveloped, children and the next generation. Anyway, so to answer your question, mm-hmm. Dig down deep. Golly, especially on orphan. When we're focusing on orphanages, I just lose it. Like, people don't get it, but yet I don't want to show the pictures, mm-hmm. because that's like playing on people's emotions. I don't want to play on people's emotions like that. I don't want to make people feel guilty.
Right.
Because that's not... I want to show the hope. I want to show, like, the positive aspects of eating insects. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm going to show. Mm-hmm. It's important for us in the U.S. is to set a positive example for developing countries, because this is going out to anybody and everybody that has access to internet access, has access to internet.
Yep.
They could be watching us and going, am I going to give up my traditional diet, or am I going to go buy what I see coming out of America? I want them to see that no, Americans actually find it. I mean, there's a lot of insect stuff that I find quite enjoyable. And whether it was a shift and change in mindset or what. Do you remember how many orphans? Man, it's like 140. According to UNICEF, 132 million orphans. Give me the 1%. What if we could feed the 1%? What if we could help the 1% feed themselves and their village? 1.3 million lives that could be affected by affecting 1% of the orphans around the world. What would that do to the next generation? That's why. That right there is why I dig. Dang it. That's why I dig deep. Because it's worth it. They're worth it. That's why. Is that what you're asking?
Yep. And do you truly believe it's possible?
I do, because I believe in the human race. And I believe that we can truly make a difference. Like even early on with Seeds of Action, like the heartbeat of Seeds of Action is we are all seeds, and we can either lay dormant or take action. And I have a core belief that united we can end global malnutrition. I mean, that was our mission statement for the first part until we really got into insects. So I have a hope and belief that, I mean, I'm already getting feedback from some different organizations that are in the mix right now that are willing to help with this project. And that's a big deal to me, because people are getting behind it. I'm seeing hashtag going out, some like Food Tank. I just saw Food Tank shared our stuff out, and I mean, it's a big deal. As I was dreaming about the campaign, I just thought, like, we use this as our fundraiser. Like, this is how we could raise the funds and work with a team of people. We need to, lock arms and truly bring change. Not talk about it, but do it.
Right.
And that's what I feel like we're doing with the campaign is, I'm not going to talk about it. I'm going to do it. Hopefully our viewers get behind us. Hopefully you guys get behind us. I don't know why I'm talking. But if you don't, it's still worth it. And I'm going to still do what I can because because the kids are worth it. I don't really like talking about this stuff on camera.
But
so for the whole world to see. Just don't. So don't get used to it. I gotta get to work.
Guess what? I love this guy.
Love you too, babe.